Hometown Radio, KGAF FM Stereo 92.3, Thursday morning, D. Blanton. And as we've been promoting the last couple of days, told you we'd have a special guest in the studio today, and we do. It is the newest doctor at North Texas Medical Center, the newest doctor to Gainesville. Dr. Cedric Buckley is here. Good morning.
Good morning.
Welcome to the program. Great to have you here. Now, you're Dr. Buckley, but you were also in the Army, and you were Major Buckley. So what do you prefer? You prefer doctor or major?
Oh, Dr. Buckley's just fine.
Or how about Cedric?
Cedric would even be better.
All right. Well, it's great to have you here, Doc. It's great to have you in the community. What's your first impression so far of the Cook County area here?
Well, my family and I love it. We're excited to be here. My wife's from Texas, so I think she's kind of used to the Texas heat, but I'm still adjusting.
Well, you've certainly been around quite a bit. You get here to NTMC in Cook County from Hawaii. What made you want to move to North Texas in the first place?
Yeah, as I mentioned, my wife's from Texas. Her family's from the colony. She has a sister that lives in Denton, and so we wanted to be by family, but we also, me personally, was looking for kind of a rural health kind of opportunity, and so all of this came together for the perfect scenario, and that's what brought us here.
Well, and folks, let me just tell you something about Dr. Buckley here. He's been here, there, and yonder, and kind of an interesting adventure for you. You're from, I believe, Idaho. Is that right?
That's correct, Boise, Idaho.
And you went to Brigham Young University. Congratulations to that. Went to medical school in Arizona, residency at Washington State, before you went to Hawaii. You spent quite a bit of time in Hawaii as well. And now here you are in Texas. Talk a little bit about the journey and what took you to the places you went.
Yeah, so as you indicated, I grew up in Boise, Idaho, then went on to my undergrad at BYU, and then spent 4 years of medical school in Glendale, Arizona, which is a kind of suburb of Phoenix. After that, I went to Washington, Madigan Army Medical Center, which is on JBLM, which is Joint Base Lewis McChord. So that's in Tacoma, Washington. I was active duty, obviously, during that time. And you didn't mention one. I had another stop, so I went to Fort Campbell, Kentucky, right after residency. I was there for a year, so got to spend some time on the Kentucky-Tennessee border. And then went to Hawaii and spent 3 years, almost 3 years there. And now here. So, yes, many stops, and hopefully this is the last one for a long while.
Are there differences? I would guess healthcare is healthcare, whether you're doing it as a member of the armed services or if you're doing it as a civilian. It's the same, isn't it?
Yeah, it's really pretty much the same. My time in Tacoma, Washington at Madigan, my patient population wasn't active duty. It was a lot of retirees. So I think my average age population was right around 79, 80. And then in Fort Campbell, Kentucky, it was opposite. It was, 20s and 30s. And Hawaii was mixed, 20s, 30s to 80s. Yeah. And so it's really pretty much the same. I've seen about everything that I could imagine seeing, and I'm excited to be here.
Now, you're board certified and you're in internal medicine. That's kind of your specialty. For those that don't know, tell us what is internal medicine.
That's a good question, one I get often. Family medicine is something that people are aware of and familiar with. Internal medicine isn't all that dissimilar. That being said, we don't see pediatric patients. We don't see OB patients. So our training is really focused in the subspecialties of internal medicine. So that'd be like nephrology, so your kidney doctors, your heart doctors, your GI doctors. And so we get a lot more of specific training in more of the chronic, more complicated diseases. And so that's where I kind of hone my skills, is patients that are older with chronic diseases or have really complicated diseases.
Yeah. Do you have one area you prefer or lean to or like more?
No, I mean, not one in general, but I would say there's, heart disease is one, diabetes, obesity, a lot of just like the chronic diseases is our specialty and our bread and butter. So I wouldn't say there's one, but really just the chronic diseases.
Yeah, and, certainly the older population, or the adult population, you're going to see more people suffering from those different things or going through that. How important is it for folks to get an annual exam? I know I always put it off as long as I can, and I think a lot of people do, but it's pretty darn important, isn't it?
Yeah, it's something that I really like my patients to do on a yearly basis. Usually I ask them to come in during their birth month, just so they know when they're supposed to come in. We do annual labs, make sure that we're not missing any chronic diseases. And then it's a lot about prevention, making sure that you're up to date on all of your preventive measures, women, mammograms, pap smears, generalized for like colonoscopies, things like that. So I find it very important, something that I am passionate about.
Yeah, and, I guess if you're healthy and you're feeling good, that's the last thing on your mind is, well, I'm going to go to the doctor just for the heck of it. But it is important because a lot of things you need to catch early if it's going to be caught. And tell everybody where your office is and where you see patients.
Yep, so the address is 1902 Hospital Boulevard. It's in the NTMC Health Complete Care Clinic, and I'm open and available for patients.
All right, man. And that clinic's getting full of some great docs there, and Dr. Cedric Buckley is the latest and the newest. Let me welcome you to Gainesville and Cook County and Texas, and it's great to have you here, and I wish you great success.
I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
All right, Dr. Buckley, thanks for joining us today, and that'll do it from North Texas Medical Center and Hometown Radio, KGAF.